The story takes place in a small French town that seems frozen in time. Jean lives a quiet life with her grandfather, until one day, an unexpected visitor disrupts their peace. An enemy officer arrives to requisition a room for a colonel. Unfortunately, the room he chooses once belonged to Jean's parents, who were recently killed by enemy forces. Although Jean and her grandfather are filled with hatred and resentment, they can only endure in silence when faced with such harsh reality. That evening, as usual, Jean plays her favorite Bach piece on the piano for her grandfather as night falls. In the middle of the music, the uninvited guest quietly enters the room. He doesn't carry himself with arrogance, nor does he speak harshly. Instead, he comes across as humble and gentle, like a family member returning home late. He politely greets Jeanne and her grandfather and tries to make small talk in a sincere tone. But to make their position clear, Jean and her grandfather remain silent, using their silence as a form of protest. The colonel never reacts with anger. As an invader, he understands what kind of treatment to expect in the face of such deep personal and national grief. The next day, Jeanne goes out to buy supplies, but in a blink, her bicycle is stolen. With no other choice, she walks home. Her feet are blistered and she limps along the road. While she's resting, she runs into the colonel passing by. He politely asks if she'd like a ride. He clearly understands that sometimes respect means more than help. That day marks the first time the colonel enters Jeanne and her grandfather's living room. Because of the cold weather, he asks Jeanne for permission to warm himself by the fire. No one speaks, but no one refuses either. He carefully steps toward the fireplace and begins to speak quietly to himself, sincerely, knowing Jeanne is listening even if she won't respond. His calm and graceful demeanor makes Jeanne see him different for the first time. She begins watching him in secret. One day, when a neighbor's child falls, the colonel immediately rushes over, gently picks up the child, and returns them to their parents. Jeanne is touched again. Her initial anger and resistance slowly begin to fade, replaced by a strange sense of familiarity, and Jean still hasn't realized that she's beginning to change.